Welcome to Quality Branding Hub. The channel is for the quality control engineer, site engineer, and the civil engineer who are working in the construction field. In this channel, we are dealing with anything and everything which is required to get success in the construction, not only in the project success as well as the career success of the quality control or the site engineer. So, what is today's topic? Today's topic is about the defects of a concrete, that is honeycombing. Now honeycombing is the quite normal in the concrete. We are often witnessing this defect, that is honeycombing. Now what is honeycombing, why it is happening, what is the major reason, how to avoid, and what is the repair methodology for the honeycombing, and what is the checkpoint, that all we will discuss today and all about this. So stay tuned until then to get the full information, and if you are new in my channel, kindly subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video you will get immediate notification. So without wasting time, let's jump into the subject, that is honeycombing in concrete. Now first, what is honeycombing? Honeycombing refers to void in the or the air pockets and in the gaps inside the concrete or the surface in the concrete, and this concrete, when it is mortar, has not filled the space in between coarse aggregate, or it is not filled properly inside the formwork, and it is looks like similar to the beehives, that it's called the honeycombing, but it's not the real honeycombing, but it's the honeycombing in the concrete. So it refers to the voids or the air pocket serve in the surface of the concrete as well as the inside of the concrete. So why it is harmful, that I will come to later, but for the understanding that if there is voids, that means the concrete mix is not homogeneous, and so entire area or entire span will not withstand with the same load because there is a gap. So the strength and the durability, that will both will be in a problem. That is why it is harmful, and you need to take it very precautionally or very carefully to avoid any honeycombing, because it will affect the strength and the durability of the structure. Now so this is honeycombing. Now what are the reason for honeycombing? The first reason is that improper mix design. So if the mix design is not the proper, so there can be possibility that the voids can be generated. So if there is the coarse aggregate, fine aggregate are not in the proper proportion or in the proper ratio, what will happen, the gaps can be generated. So the first things we need to prepare is the comprehensive mix design to avoid honeycombing. The next is improper compaction. Now all we know that what is the compaction of the concrete or the consolidation of the concrete. So what you need to do, you need to do the proper compaction. If not, what will happen, the gap can be inside the concrete. Why? Compaction is refers to remove the air pockets from the concrete by needle vibrator, service vibrator, whatever it is. So if the compaction is not proper, what will happen, the air pockets inside the concrete will be there, and that will create air voids to the pockets, that will be honeycombing. Then poor concrete placement, here it is also a very catchy point, because if the placement is not proper, then again the honeycombing can be happen. So if the falling height of the free fall height of the concrete is more than 1.5 meter, the segregation will take place, and if the segregation is there, so what will happen, again the segregation is happened, so the voids will create, because that the mix will not be the homogeneous mix, so again it will create the honeycombing. And if the vibration is more than the required, what will happen, then again the bleeding will happen, and if the bleeding will happen, again there is a possibility that honeycombing can generate. So this is the reason. Then congested reinforcement, here it is also problem. If there is a congested reinforcement, especially in the beam column junction, what is happening, the concrete cannot go inside the areas where is the reinforcement is very congested, so the voids is created. So another reason for the honeycombing is the congested reinforcement. Then leak or poorly assembled formwork, again if there is a gap in the formwork, also what will happen, the slurry will leak from this gap, and the mix will have less amount of the cement slurry, so gaps will generate, the honeycombing can be happen. And delays in the placing concrete, what is that? So that means we are making in layer, but from one layer to another layer, if we are delaying more, then these can be generate the honeycombing. Then using oversized coarse aggregate, again. See, this is a very important point, that your aggregate size will be there will no gap graded, it will be uniformly graded. If there is a gap graded aggregate or the oversized aggregate, what will happen, there will be gap in between the aggregates, and these gaps will create the honeycombing, and then improper laying tracing, already discussed. So these are the reason for the honeycombing. So whenever we know the honeycombing, the next part is coming, how to avoid. So whatever the reason we are find out, we have to attack that one, so then it will happen, there will be no honeycombing. So first point, you should be a proper mix design. So all the ingredients should be in a proper mix ratio, then the proper mix design, mixing, placing, if this is proper, then it will be no honeycombing. And then use up workable concrete mix. So that is also important, that the workability of the concrete. If the concrete is very stiff and not placing properly, what will happen, gaps will create and honeycombing will be there. And also proper vibration, which is very important. So you need to do the proper vibration in order to avoid honeycombing in the concrete itself. Then place concrete in layers. Why? Because if it is not in layer and not in properly vibrated, what will happen, then cracks will be created and there will be voids. So again honeycombing will come. Though ensure formwork is leak proof. Again, that is a point, why it is honeycombing is coming, then there is slurry leakage from the formwork. Now here we need to ensure that there should be no formwork leakage from or slurry leakage from the formwork joint. Then adequate supervision. Now why supervision is required? Because ultimately labor will do the work. Okay, so if you don't have the proper supervision team, so what will happen, the labor will do as per their own. So again there will be a problem and there will be a gap can be generated and the honeycombing will be there. And ensure continuous concrete. Again there is a problem, they were discussing that there will be no delay in the concrete in the layer, so there will be a problem for the honeycombing. Now these are the possible reasons how you can avoid honeycombing. Now what is honeycombing harmful? Why I am thinking, let it be there, gap will be there, but why it is harmful? That reduces durability. Now what is durability? Durability is how the concrete is withstood over time with the environment. So how it will react with the environment, how it will withstand throughout the time. So what is happening, if there is gap, that means the strength will be not there, the homogeneous mix is not there, so entire span will not be the same strength, so there will be a concern of durability. And from this gap, all the harmful ion, that is sulfur, chlorine, carbon dioxide, water, all will penetrate inside the concrete and it will deteriorate the concrete, and the reinforcement corrosion will be happen, and again it is a disaster for the concrete stability of the structure. Then decrease compressive strength, as we discussed, if there is a void, it will decrease the compressive strength. Then expose reinforcement steel. Now here is another case, if there is a void, it will expose the reinforcement, and again this chloride or the carbon dioxide and the water will penetrate inside the concrete and it will corrode the steel, and if the corrosion is happening, in volume increase, pressure stress is generated and concrete can crack, spalling, and the durability will be at a problem. Then reduces structural integrity. So when strength and durability is a problem, structural integrity is also will be in a question. So what will happen, we will not get the right kind of concrete and we will not get the lifespan, whatever we are designed for, maybe 60 years, 70 years, 90 years, whatever it is, the lifespan will be a problem. Then leakage and dampness issues is also a problem. If the gap, then the water will penetrate from this gap and there is a dampness issues inside the premises or inside the building, so it is will uninhabitable. This not will be the habitable condition. And also there is a poor bonding. So if there is a poor bonding in between steel and concrete, again there is a deterioration, or what will happen, we will not get the strength and the durability. So these are why honeycombing is harmful. Now what is the repair method? Now depending upon the nature or depending upon the degree of honeycombing, we have separate method. First is minor or the shallow honeycombing, that means it's only in the surface. So what we need to do, clean the loose mortar, remove dust and dirt or anything else, apply bonding agent, either it's SBR or the epoxy bonding agent, and then fill with polymer modified mortar or the PMA mortar. So, and finish and cure. Curing should be as per the requirement, as per the 7 days, 3 days, whatever the requirement, you should to follow that one. So these are the minor or the shallow honeycombing or the surface honeycombing. That in that way we can cure the concrete or we can repair the concrete. And then is the moderate honeycombing, then the medium days, not on the surface but it's penetrate inside the concrete, but it's not the same one, it's not touch the concrete steel itself. So what is that method? Expose area fully, what is the loose mortar, what is the aggregate that we have to expose fully, remove all loose or concrete, wash surface with clean water, then apply epoxy or the SBR bonding agent, then fill with non-sink repair mortar. Here you need to fill with the non-sink mortar, because if there is any shrinkage or the volume shrink, again the stress will generate, will not fulfill our purpose. So here you need to use the non-sink repair material, and then cure as per manufacturer guidelines, maybe 3 days or 7 days. So these are the moderate honeycombing. And third one, this is the major and the deep honeycombing, maybe the large void inside the concrete. So break weak concrete until sound concrete is reached, then clean and prepare surface, then apply bonding adhesive epoxy or the SBR, then fill with the zone using micro concrete grouting and or the formwork or high strength repair material. So depending upon the voids or depending on how much it is penetrating, you need to find out what material is micro concrete, grouting or the high strength repair material. But these are the natural repair method, but you need to check with your structural engineer first, and the structural engineer will finalize what is the repair methodology. So after that, getting the approval from your structural engineer, you can apply whatever they are suggesting. But these are the three common methods: the surface one, moderate one, and the medium one. And also sometimes if the honeycombing is very severe, we need to demolish the structure. Yes, it is happen. There are several areas where the honeycombing is too much, which is not repairable. What is happening? You need to break the structure and you need to break that concrete, and you have to redo the concrete. That possibility also can happen due to the large voids or the large honeycombing inside the concrete. So depending upon the your observation, you need to submit the data to the structural engineer, and they will come to the site and they will evaluate and they will give you the solution. So these are the solution what I am giving, that is the normal one, but you need to check with your structural engineer. Now what is the material used for honeycomb repair? That we discussed, that polymer modified mortar, that is PMA mortar, epoxy bonding agent, non-sink repair mortar, micro concrete, epoxy resin grout, SBR latex, cementitious latex, and ready mix repair concrete. We are not using the normal concrete, it is always the ready mix repair concrete. So these are all the material are using for the repair of the honeycombing. But again depending upon the degree of the severity and depending upon the structural engineer recommendation or the manufacturer recommendation, you need to check and you need to apply as per the recommendation, and you need to follow all the steps or all the guidelines to avoid any further deterioration. But what is the checkpoint? The checkpoint is identify extent of honeycombing, surface preparation, check bonding agent application, ensure proper material selection, application thickness check, then curing after repair, final inspection, and the documentation. So what is happening, what I want to say, whatever the concrete checkpoint, that all checkpoint you need to follow, from the curing, from the placement, from the placement of the concrete, for the temperature of the concrete, whatever it is, or the manufacturer guidelines, how much water to be added in the repair material, that all are everything as per the concrete or the manufacturer guideline. Each and every point you need to check, and after completion you need to submit inspection request to the consultant or the concerned authority, and once they approved, you have to close this one. So these are all about the steps, what is honeycombing, why it is harmful, what is the reason, how to avoid honeycombing, what is the repair method, what is the QC checkpoint, and what is the material you are using for the honeycombing. And I hope you find it useful, and if you find it useful, kindly subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video, you'll get immediate notification. And I'm waiting for your valuable comments, so that from your valuable comment everybody will be benefited. And if you want to know anything more about quality control and construction, please let me know. I will come with more content like this. And thank you once again for watching me.